Good morning, anyone that's there. Probably no one, but I'm just saying good day doing a sound check. If someone can hear me, if they can just give me some feedback on what the sound is like. We are having internet issues this week, so this could be a very short broadcast. GM Movies, good morning to you. Jeff? Or Tony? I think it's Jeff actually, but good morning to you. Could you just tell me if the quality is okay with the sound? I've got a headset on and lots of feedback. I've killed everything else I've had bar the hangout up. Not sure what else. I'll take my headset out for a sec and Tony, okay, I'm taking the headset out now. Is that any better? It's better. All right, I'll leave the headset off. What I'm after today is, if anyone's watched a short video that I did, they will get what I'm talking about in this discussion. But what I want today is other people's experiences, their story. What does that mean? Well, it's like there are things that happen in our lives that we keep to ourselves, and we saw what we saw, or we heard what we heard, or felt something, or deja vu. Now, I'd like to hear people's stories along those lines, because or even ghosts, let's be honest. I had a very good friend here with her husband last night. I've been saying that for a number of years. It's great to catch up with them. But she's a medium, and I don't mean as in medium rare. She is indeed a medium, very, very good at what she does. But it's an aspect of life. You don't have to believe in the damn thing. And I want to make it very clear from the outset on this hangout, this has nothing to do with people's faith or religion. This is to do with a discussion about the possibility of not only our genetics physically being handed down to us, but memories from our ancestors. Hence the title, Echoes from Our Ancestors. I do want people to come up on the panel and tell their story. I don't think we'll get 1 million people in here, but we'll wait probably 10 minutes. And Tony, if you're keen to come up, the format, how I will do it, is just ask a couple of questions, then I'll shut up and we'll listen to the story, because everyone's life is like a book. Past lives for me, and I had a great discussion with the lady here last night, a friend of ours who is that medium. And my theory, she sort of says, sort of works, but she believes more in the fact of the physical past life. Whereas and I could be wrong, but I feel because of how genetics are handed down to us through thousands of generations, we didn't just appear yesterday, is that not only the physicality of our genetics is handed down, but the impact, the memories of our ancestors. And I'll give you an example, Tony, for me. And that is, like, I had 2 major events, and they would be trauma, which is one of the most common memories people have. I was 2 years old when my mother had a pressure cooker, cooking some stew or something, took the lid off, must have turned around and put the lid on the kitchen sink, and I reached over and fell into it with my arm and shoulder. I had major operations for numbers of years, nearly lost my arm. Luckily, I didn't. Another event, I was about 7, crossing the road when I lived in the UK. A friend of mine was across the other side. I thought, yeah, I'll run across and just catch up with them. What did I do? I hit the car. Not really the car hit me. I hit the car, went under the back wheels, and busted my leg in so many places. Every moment of that incident is vivid for me. Even as a 2-year-old, like being burnt, I remember the towel being put around my arm and my chest, and also cold water. I remember all those things. I remember the ambulance driver Hope you well just come in. G'day, Data. Yeah, I'm just telling a little bit of the story. And I remember the ambulance driver, she was a lady. I actually got hit outside the ambulance depot, which is very fortunate because all they did was back out the vehicle. I remember the guy who hit me, he was terribly traumatized. I was obviously in shock, but I think some things click into your mind when things like that happen. And like I believe the human brain is the best computer ever developed, but we don't use very much of it at all. But I think when needed upon and when called upon, certain triggers, maybe endorphins are released within the brain and certain triggers open up passages that store critical memory. I also remember some really good times when I was a kid. So it's not like it's only trauma, but trauma is something that people vividly remember. And like I said earlier to TM Movies, what I want to do tonight and today in my country is to basically get people to come up and tell their story. Now, that could be incidences in their life. They might have seen something, heard something. I can tell you, as far as deja vu moments go, I probably had 4 or 5 in my conscious memory as an adult. One was the most vivid ever, where I went to a coffee shop outside a corner, a beautiful little part of the city, and I sat down and I just looked up, and all of a sudden it's like I remembered everything from before. Now, what does that mean? It means whatever it means to me, if you understand. Like the feeling was I've been here before, I knew that was going to happen, I saw this. Very collectively, it was like watching a replay of a video, is the best way I can describe it. And when you meet somebody on another occasion, there is some person I met many, many years ago, who we sat down for a while, it was like, I'd known this person all my life. Do you believe some are washes of all past memories and some not? I'll make it easy for you, Data. My belief is that memories are inherently a personal thing. However, I believe the genetics of our body, being physical and memory, are passed down to us. I don't mean that we get a big, hard drive data box delivered to our brain and we can open it and watch everything. I think that our ancestors give us, hi Molly, I think our ancestors have given us not only an improvement in physical attributes as the years go by, as in the strongest will survive type method, which is true. You took a lot just to exist, let's be honest, thousands of sperms fighting, and I made it. But when it comes down to why I mentioned echoes from our ancestors, I think we just get bits and pieces that we can draw upon. I do believe, and I was saying to TM Movies when I first opened this hangout, that we, by chance, this is just by chance, last night we had some friends we hadn't seen for a couple of years, few years actually, and she is a medium, and undeniably, I mean, like I say, I'm not one to say anything categorical, but undeniably she has a gift, and all she does, and I'll be honest with you, is help people heal. That's her process. That's what she says her gift is. Now, if you were in South America or in North America with shamans, and, wise men, or whatever you want to call these people, they also have those same gifts. And I'm sure some of you may have had the opportunity in your life to be in the presence of these people. And none of them I've ever met seem to be doing it for their own benefit financially. Most of the time, it's always done for free. And so the issue for me tonight is that I'm telling you bits and pieces how I believe genetics are not just physically handed down, but portions of the memories of our ancestors are given to us as well. Maybe for instinctive reasons, maybe for knowledge. Because one of the things all of you would have done, I'm approaching 60, but I remember as a boy listening to stories, what we would call folklore, about certain subject matters and bits and pieces, and hearing stories from other family members about ghosts that they had seen. If you like, Tony, like I say, the reason for this discussion is to allow people to tell their story, first of all, because collectively we can gather knowledge together and pick and choose what works for us. And a broad spectrum of people who have different stories doesn't mean that they're right and we're wrong, or vice versa. It just means that we have more of a collective knowledge. I always like to tell people, have an open mind on all subjects. I remember having a discussion with a friend years ago, a priest, who said that it's, and I'm not knocking the Catholics, he says, I'm a Catholic priest, and he actually married me. I used to play footy with the guy as well, so it was one of those strange relationships, playing sport with your priest that was going to marry you. But it was an issue that he said, you know, he was devout. It was like, this is the way only through Catholicism. And I said, I get you, but even as a young man, I said, I've read up quite a lot of things. And I said to him that there are about 3,000, probably a lot more actually, 3,000 religions on planet Earth. So, and I said, I'm not an atheist, I have an opinion, and it's my faith. But I said, so if Catholicism is the correct way, the 2,999 other religions are wrong, that would mean that you and I only differ on one religion. In other words, I'm saying all religions are personal, they're just a faith, and you can't say someone else's faith is wrong. That is the wrong thing to do because it's a personal choice. But I think that when people weigh up all the things that happen in their life, there are certain things you cannot explain. The knowledge that you're given on a certain subject, and you start thinking that it's like, well, how did I know that? Because that's the most common deja vu, when someone tells you something but you already knew it, or you go someplace and you've already seen it, but you haven't in this lifetime. And like I say, my friend in the medium last night, she was saying about, she's very firm in her belief that we do live physically past lives. And I differed by saying, well, I agree that even if you lived it or not, you have the opportunity to remember. Now, I believe that it's genetics, physically, and memory that we're given. I think we're given a package, is what I'm saying. Even if I'm right, it doesn't really matter. It's not like it suddenly changes the world, but it would explain a lot of things that happen in people's lives. So what I'm going to do now, the guy next door is walking his dog and yelling at him. Good morning, good evening, everyone. Anyway, what I'm going to do now is TM Movies is going to come up shortly. I will send him a link. How would you like me to send that to you, Tony? Would you like that sent to your YouTube page on TM Movies? It'll make it easy for me. Do I think Randy has a past life? Well, Randy doesn't have a present one. I'm only kidding. I'm always trying to motivate the kid. You discovered you were a sumo wrestler during the Ming Dynasty. That's a bit strange, Tony, because you're crossing Japanese culture with Chinese. Mind you, it's only a short trip across the ocean to get there. The Japanese tried quite a few times to take China, of course. But like I say, I've given you a little bit of an aspect. If people have looked at that previous video, and I'll put it in, it only goes for 5 minutes for those people who have not got a clue what I'm talking about. That'll break down what I'm on about. My view, my opinion, it's just for discussion. Yeah, it's a good point actually, Molly, because most people today just live their lives. There's not the same thing now that when I was a kid, Molly, where you would sit around a campfire with your family members, older family members, and stories would be told. I mean, I've heard stories from my grandfather. He was born in 1895, but the stories as a child are very vivid to me. So I've got stories, not just from 1895, obviously. We're talking about him being told stories, folklore, within family groups, villages, whatever. They are real. If you went to any town in the US in particular, you'd find there'd be some local folklore. Sure, just post in the comment section of the newest video. No, I'd rather put it, because that mean anyone can grab that, Tony. I'll put it in your about or something. I think that's how it works. I don't want the link to 100 people. I just want some people specifically to tell stories. Let me just find your page. About. There we go. I can put it in there. Let me just get the link to the Hangout. Do that. So we're getting clever now. Years ago we said, what the word in here? Go to that section. I'm not a robot. Click on that. Next. Enter your message. And been sent to your phone in your message section on your About page. It was me. It was me down here. There we go, I'm back. All right, that's been sent to you. The reason, what I don't want is half a dozen people up there and then questioning each other's opinions. That's not what this is about. This is to listen to people's stories. Everyone is a book. Everyone has certain things that happen to them. Sure, no worries. It's really one of those things. I'm not going to have anything like these hangouts turn into chaos because people will come up and talk about their religion or and how stupid people are. I'm not interested. It's a discussion. If you want to be part of it, only in the side chat, that's fine. I have no problem with that. But when people are willing to come up and tell their story, I will chat with them briefly and then we'll listen to their story because each of us have a different one to tell. And it's good to understand that this is not a faith-driven conversation about religion. This is about real-life experiences, which mean that it's about each and everyone's own experiences. Yeah, you've got, I mean, I remember being influenced with, look, when I was a kid, I used to have to go to Sunday school. Cold, dark, oak, floorboards, onward Christian soldiers, etc., doing some really strange things and you know, like taking exercises and a walk around the forest and people telling you that this happened there. Look, the thing about religion is that there are more ghost stories in it than anywhere else. You know, when people will tell you there's no such thing as ghosts, well, seriously, you only have to look at some of the religions and it's forever there. The spirit of this, the angel of that. Oh no, not a religion for me. I'm on this plane to learn education. Yeah, it is. It's a case of that we soak up information and we discern, we determine what works for us. That's what life is all about. You know, you're not born any religion. You are what you are by either indoctrination or your own choice. That's how life works. You know, if people ever said, I was born into a Catholic family. Well, that's true, but you weren't born Catholic, if you get my point. Literally, you were not. You were taught, you were indoctrinated, you were given the guides of following the faith. And I have no argument with that, don't get me wrong. But, you know, I do believe there are certain things that do happen when you're born. One is you are born gay. You can't find out for a long time down the road. I'm not, but that's just how it is. I do look at that from a being to exist based on what I've heard from my elders, personally not experienced it. Well, the answer to that shows maybe not experienced it yet. You know what I mean? It's like, well, okay. Yeah, and sometimes data, what you see is not always what you get. Like it doesn't necessarily, but it's fact. We can be fooled on many occasions, on many subjects. I think Tony's coming on. Check my hangout room. I do not see him yet. But I've heard some doozies of stories in regards to people seeing apparitions, ghosts, whatever you want to call them. I believe, personal opinion, ghosts are nothing but time slides of events that did occur. What do I mean by that? You must know that for me, most of the stories told about ghosts are repetitive. There's a girl crossing the road on that town hill just outside town that's been seen with a basket going across the road picking flowers. And it's the same story about the same ghost over and over again, which would suggest to me, just like now, what I say is now becoming history. It's a fact, it's solid. In jelly, like history just goes back in jelly, and we can pull out a slice and say, oh, I remember that happened. And very clear and concise, you can tell what happened. No different, I believe, in an apparition. It's just the ability to have seen it. Because I've heard stories of people saying, I was with her, and she said she saw this, but I couldn't see a damn thing. That's a very common experience. But one or two people will see something and the other people see nothing. But it doesn't mean that they didn't see it. Unless you're the person, you can't deny things that you see to yourself. But if someone's standing next to you, like if I was with Joe, he's standing next to me and he's telling me I can see this person and he's fishing and I'm thinking I can't see anything. Thinking, yeah, my internet's not good at the moment, which is pretty normal in Australia. Am I still here? That's that question. It's just not the best signal at the moment. That's just I was born into it. I was raised as such. The only thing I got out of religion growing up was to stay out of trouble and be kind to others and work as a child, a teenager. It's the set of guidelines. The commandments on a religious basis brought down from the mountain. Guidelines. They're like do's and that's literally what the Bible will tell you, is that there are do's and don'ts in life. And what do? Well, they control people like Joe. He behaves himself. He thinks he's going to get help and do something. He doesn't. They worked. The guidelines worked. Yes, Molly, like I said, the most important thing for people individually is that what works for them and what gives them strength, they should follow. Being forced to do so is wrong, because you just won't. You'll go through the motions of telling them, yeah, this is what I do, that's my faith, but yourself, you've got to have a faith that works for you. To me, the world, animals, trees, and the sky are all God. The bread I take is God for what they call God. Without the sun, we will die. Yeah. I mean, I could put forward the proposition that was given to me. Is the life that we're living real? I'll give you an example. I'll give you a great example. I'll pick on Molly, not for any other reason, but for the example. Molly, if I could check into my laboratory, and I could say to you, there's the tank there, you float in it, and what it is, you can live a whole life in that tank until you die. You will have the most wonderful life. Everything will be perfect. The food will taste real. The best that you do, the lows you have will all be real as far as you're concerned. Molly, would you hop in the tank if you have the most wonderful life? Of course, you only ever get taken out of that tank after you die. But you'll live through that tank, and everything's fantastic. The food's great, life's great, everything. Would you do it, Molly? It's a hypothetical question based on it would be better than real life, but would you hop into the tank? Would anyone hop into the tank? And if I'm here, my damn internet's crap. We are sure this will change. Am I here? I need several. Look, I'll tell you what happens, Molly, is that we get all the people we need, and they all agree. You even keep your faith in the tank. There's no loss of anything. The only thing is that everything is enhanced and improved. No pain. Everything's perfect. You just have to hop into the tank. The answer is probably most people would say no. That's most people, because there is something that I learned off some time ago. It might sound a little bit weird, but the good and the bad in one's life gives you the balance. The problem like that is that sometimes pain, in particular, lets you know you're alive. Yeah, that's a very strong statement for me, because pain is relative to whoever and how harsh that pain is. But it does remind you of life. You hop in the tank where everything's perfect and everything's the same as it is, but nothing goes wrong. Would for me be easy to say no, because I think you actually value life based on good and bad. I don't think life is capable. I don't think it's you guys. I think it's my internet. I probably won't do another hangout for a couple of weeks. We are in the middle of packing, and trust me, some stuff's going into storage, some stuff's coming with us. Yeah. Do I like moving? No. Don't want to do it. Doing it for a very good reason. Yes, it is. That is the most prophetic statement that people need to realise. There is one enemy in life that you must defeat: yourself. Because sometimes we are our enemy. All of a sudden, you'll see people, and you see it on YouTube in particular. You get a result that has no outcome. For what purpose? It's usually because their life is pretty shitty and they want to share the shittiness. It's about as basic as I can get with you. It makes people feel good if you make them feel bad. In other words, if you're making someone else share your misery, it's hard. It's not good. Balance is more important. G'day, awesome hooker. How you doing? I think the things that, and I'm drifting off the subject slightly, but I see why they do it, but benefit. If we do things in life, it's usually to benefit other people, to benefit yourself. Why would you go to rooms to back with something you don't really know? And a lot of for the next 5 to 10 years online and talk about, this, that, and the other. Just look, I've said it before. There are no such things as trolls. There is no such thing as a troll. There is you allowing a troll to exist. So some people want the conflict, and when people say to me, "Oh, I've got trolls," I'm saying, no, you love the conflict. That's what you're doing. You're interacting, and it doesn't do you any damn good, by the way. There's no benefit to you in the end. Like I said, there are benefits of why we do things. But to argue with someone you don't know forever and a day, accusing them of things you're not quite sure about, you allude to a truth, you just make up a damn lie because you don't like them, just block them. And that's a bit like what Deja just said. It's very important to understand, very prophetic stuff. The biggest battle is with yourself. And my wife's often said it to people where she says, if you can't love yourself, well, you have no opportunity to help or love anyone else. Narcissistic way, an extreme way, is this: I am that person. About putting on airs and graces and saying you're something you're not. Because the only person to, like Data, relates to, lie to, is yourself. There's no reward there. I think we might have lost Tony. I don't know. Maybe Kentucky stopped being broadcasting the internet. I might have been hit by a, an MP. Oof, gone. All right, don't know. But I'm not going to be on too much. At least maybe next time I do a hangout, you'll understand what I'm trying to do is get people up, tell their story without being interrupted, interact with each other on experiences with more sharing. Because it's not just a case. I'm not going to stop someone who comes up and says, "This is my story and it's based on my faith." I'm just saying, okay, well, if it's a story about your life's experience, it's not going to be about religion. So the 1 and 2 can exist, but it's not going to be, Sunday morning prayer. This is an honest discussion about people's experiences. Some things that I don't see on YouTube, and it's one of those things that I am interested in. People don't have to share my belief that genetic memory is handed down at all. It's something I believe in. I can't understand this. I can't understand this obsession of the content creators like yours. Use a God, get a grip. If you feel the need to intrude in someone's life, get off YouTube. Perfect. I get what you're saying, Data, and the truth is, I want to text it anymore. My stuff. We'll go walking. Just kidding. But it is the biggest issue with people is, and you'd all have to be honest, we all have demons of some sort. I don't mean nasty ones, but things that in the past we shouldn't have done, we did, things that we're anxious about, even today. That's normal. It's human afraid. It's something that, unless you're a complete narcissist and care less about everything and everyone, you do have a conscience being anxious at a certain level, because it shows you have a conscience. Should I? Maybe I shouldn't. No, I won't. That's called a conscience. Sorry, someone else. Yeah, no worries. Sorry, man. It's probably my end. I've got internet issues. But at least the concept of what I'm trying to do is just get to talk and listen to people, because their stories are not, and until you get a chance to do it, maybe people would like to do it, tell a story about their life, things that occurred. Chat, I'll ask you just people briefly, if you could tell me of one, and I'm sure there are more, one of the deja vu moments that occurred in your life. That would be interesting. Just to read a few lines about what occurred. So if you could do that for me, give me an insight into each person, and that would be a prelude probably for the future to have a discussion. What channel who is now at the minute auction of personal info? Yeah. I don't go to hangouts that bitter people argue with people they don't know. It's futile. What's the point? It's like you ordering a nice big cheesecake off me, and all I do is put down in front of you is an empty plate. Why bother going there, is what I'm saying. There's no point. It shows more to do with the person than the person they attacked. None of us are perfect, but you know, personal information and attacking people in the real world is not what should be done on YouTube. If you don't like somebody, ignore them. Again, there are no such things as trolls. There is such a thing as you allowing them to exist on your channel or in your chat or in your comments. You're half the problem. So block. And what happens? They're gone. Some people say, oh, but I can still read them in chat. I go, that's okay. I can't. It doesn't bother me. I have eradicated them, erased them. It takes people YouTube some time, makes you option. Not sure what that means. Took a journey to the center of my mind, which is always a great journey. It's getting out of there, Tony, that's the problem. But we don't have to set a pin that YouTube has it all antiquity. It's a personal choice, data. I do believe that some people get sucked in. Other words, there's a movement in a chat or in a hangout where you're outraged and you can't not comment. But if you sat back and looked at yourself looking at the computer and you could talk to yourself, you'd say, just go and watch something on telly, turn it off, or go to a music channel, or meditation channel, whatever, just go away. If you're not getting anything but anxious and angry in a hangout or in a chat, leave. You win. I'm trying to explain, you win. The person that's trying to bait you or carry on like a pork chop, you remove or you leave, you win. That's the bottom line. It is a case of everyone has the control button. If you choose not to use it, you are engaging in the interpersonal dispute because you want to. Turn it off. Listen, like, while I'm here and while TM Movies is here, I'm going to ask you people, there's only a few again here, do me a favour. TM Movies is so close to 1,000 subscribers. Please go and subscribe to TM Movies. I will go to his channel and I will get his link. One moment. He has 987. And we're going to make it 1,000 before we leave, aren't we? I laughed when someone said to me once, go and set up Seeds, go with all your channels and go sub up somebody. I thought, I've only got one. You're right, Jen. There are some really nice people. I like you a lot. You've got a good sense of humour. And what that means is I enjoy that. I enjoy the interaction. So if you've subbed to TM Movies, just type in yes in the comments. Random subbed, Joe's subbed. It's excellent. If you do have more than one YouTube channel, please use it. I don't. I'm already subbed. I've been subbed to TM since he existed. Very, very funny movies. And I like humour. I like irony. There's nothing wrong in laughing with someone or laughing about someone's behaviour. You know, there's a huge difference, and TM Movies actually does that. G'day, Cameo. Already was subbed up. Good on you. It's a funny channel. Let's punch him over the 1,000 mark if we can. I'll refresh my page. It was 987. It is now 990. Nearly good enough. We're 10 off. Let's have an auction. 10 to go. TM says, I once had a future vision of the internet in the late 80s. No, you're welcome, mate. Well deserved. Let's keep it going. Jeff is subbed. Empty Nest is subbed. Excellent. Let's get it over to the 1,000. He's too damn close not to make it happen right now. He is at 991. Come on. If I had other channels, Sam, I would sub, but you know I've only got one. Just quickly, while people are subbing up to your channel, we will have another hangout with guests to tell their story about things that have happened in their lives. And they're going to be stories about feelings, events, deja vu, if they've seen a ghost, if they've heard voices. My belief is that we are genetically handed down memories to a certain extent, not a great big data bank that we can access as we please, but certain things, I'm sure. That's my belief. Now, having a hangout to go to where we're not going to argue, we're going to listen to each other's story, we can take what we want from it. That's the bit that some people can't discern on YouTube. If I make a claim like I'm making, that this is my opinion, they think I'm stating that it's a fact and it's the only way it should be. That's not what I ever say. To have a discussion about something means that we can agree to disagree. Words you won't see on many hangouts, because it is the secret to life. Agree to disagree. Even if it's fundamental differences, just say, okay, we'll drop that. That is the secret. Instead of turning someone that you think doesn't agree with you into an enemy because they don't agree with you, makes you the fool. Seriously, it really does. Yeah, I know. I've always liked the combination of who is involved on those channels, Johnny, and you're a good guy. And a lot of people take you a little bit different. You and I are probably both of the same cut. We are rough, but I still think we're diamonds. Not necessarily shiny, maybe a bit more work required, but that's what life's about, is finding people that you can click with, enjoy the company. We don't catch up all the time, but we're there when we turn on. I look at your videos and vice versa, and it's all about, for me, I don't come on to YouTube for any other reason. I like cooking. I do like doing meditation videos, like interaction with people, but if I find somewhere that I go unpleasant, I don't go back. I do what I say. If someone is just outright horrid, nasty and mean, I block them. I haven't got many blocked, but I just block them. So I can categorically say I don't have trolls because, like, flea infestation, I remove them. Let's go and check TM Movies channels, see where we're at. It was 991. It's 997. What can I say? Let's just get him over the line. 3 to go. We just need 3, and I'm sure I don't want it about me, Tony, but I want a special 1,000 sub video. Make it as funny as buggery, for sure. So when we get an opportunity, like I say, we are physically moving homes from one part of Australia way across to the other side. You can understand that's going to be chaotic. I will have, if you can, if this is a way that might help me, could be Joe, could be random, could be anyone, could be Data. I know Tony will do. You can just send me a private message saying that I would like to come and tell my story. And the thing is, I don't want you to put your camera on. I want you to have the anonymity and the confidence to tell your story without putting the camera on. That's a real reason why I'm doing it. I mean, do I show my face? Yes, I do. But I think that if you're given the opportunity to be coming up as an icon and just talking without people looking at you and saying some silly things, just have a look. Are we at the 1,000? Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. 1K, you little ripper! Round of applause in chat. Well deserved, well done. Excellent, fantastic. And I'm sure we'll get a special video. Funny as buggery, and I wouldn't expect anything less. But guys, if you are interested in it, it will be a couple of weeks. It's the end of this month when we actually get over there. Between now and then, it's like, ugh. Please message me privately saying, yes, I will come on and tell my story, or a story. We have loads of stories in our lives. We really do. What I'm saying is, if you've got a moment or something that's happened that you can or can't explain, but you'd like to share your story, just send me a private message saying next time you're on in a couple of weeks or 3 weeks time, Seeds, I'll come on. I will message you back telling you when that hangout will come on. And then I'll do what I did with this one, put it on a few days earlier so you can see it in the feed to join. I'm fascinated with people's stories to things like, look, let's be honest, ghosts, deja vu, events that have occurred. I'm interested to see what people think about my theory of genetics being handed down with memory, not as full packages again, I'll reiterate, portions, important things that our genetics carry for reasons like defense or instinct. So, is TMO without us? Yes, Joe, thank you very much. We've just creeped over. Now I think it only tells me it's just 1,000. I can't see any 1,000 and something. I'm sure Tony can see that in. I have a problem. I have a recurring dream of my death where I am in a wheelchair and two women push me off the mountain in front of a Hollywood sign. Well, I would suggest you never go to LA. That'd probably be the best advice. And don't get hit by a truck, so you put in a wheelchair, and don't involve yourself with two women at one time. That would help. All right, guys, I've enjoyed interacting with you. And like I say, I'm interested if you guys would like to be part of something that we just, no one's going to get bashed on here. If we have 2 or 3 people up on the Hangout, I will ask you to block yourself while the other person is speaking. It's not an interaction. I want to hear the story. I want to understand where they're coming from with it. Do I have to agree with it? No, none of us do. But listening to the story opens up a little bit of a passage into what other people experience, because none of us have the same experiences, even though they may be similar. Maggie says, I have memories of a village my grandfather grew up in Wales. I've never met him, nor have I ever been there, I imagine. And yes, and it's going to be one of those things, Maggie, if you ever got the opportunity to go to that village, you probably have a deja vu feeling. T says, thank you, C's, and thank you all. Very special video tomorrow. Make sure it's not about me. Make sure it's about your channel, celebrating what it's about, because that's why I go there, Tony. All right, guys, on that good note, TM Movies has cracked 1,000, well deserved. And we will be back. I will be back in a couple of weeks. Please remember, if you would like to tell your story, and you can change your mind. If you say, yes, I'd like to be on a Hangout, and you say, no, I don't want to do it, that's okay. But if you send me a message of who would like to tell the story, I will PM you with the time and day that that next Hangout will be on. It'll be about this time. It'll be about, I think, East Coast of the US is about 10 p.m. now, so it makes it convenient for most people. It's 10 a.m. my time. But until then, and congratulations again to TM Movies. Good to see you. Sorry, Shauna, I'm about to go now. And do PM me if you're interested in even telling a short story about events that have happened in your life in regards to seeing, hearing, deja vu, poignant because shared knowledge is something that is worth keeping. All right, guys, till next time, have a great night or a great day wherever you are. Bye-bye.